Uh-oh. I don't have the tablet on, so I can't press the button to make the fold go faster. Let's work on it out here, I think. Well, we got the beast out. Beast hooked up to the beast. I do love this drill. I hate the payments, but I do love the drill. We shouldn't have really anything serious to do. Obviously, we got to go through and grease everything. Every one of the shanks. We'll check bolts. Check that these mud scrapers are good. Check hoses. Make sure there's no soft spots. Sometimes we get boots that wear and they pinch. We'll have to cut them and slip them down a little bit. Check all of our tire pressures. Make sure all of our meters are working. We'll have to track the conveyor. Adjust the tension. Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, April 21st. And we're going to be hitting the field pretty soon. It's not going to be today. We weren't planning on it. I actually think last year it was the 21st or the 23rd. I can't remember exactly. We are very close to ready. Let's take a look. The tractor. It is very close to ready. The one thing I do need to do, I don't know if you might be able to see in the sight glass, needs a little bit of hydraulic oil. We had the SCVs leaking over winter. Nothing serious. It looks like something's dripping over here though. Oh yeah. Well, we'll have to dig into that. That might just be a loose fitting or a bad O-ring. So we may unhook from here and take that into the shop. You can see it's still friggin' leaking somewhere here. I don't know. Not much you can do. That guy's got a drip as well. Might need some O-rings, hopefully not. They're brand new last year. The toolbar we went through. Zach crawled through everything. And there was a few boots that needed adjusting or slipped and cut. And there was one more over there that needs a fresh boot. So we just need to change that. Otherwise, it's good to go. The cart, we've gone through everything on it, everything except the tire pressures, I think, which is easy enough to do. 2375 is ready to go. Not sure what Dad's up to over there. Anyways, this guy, I guess you won't be able to see. Well, you can probably tell though. See, the cab is cocked down. Needs a new airbag for the cab suspension. when I was in Regina about 10 days ago, I picked one up. It ended up being the wrong one. There was some sort of something was added after the fact, is what they said, because they gave us the one that matched the VIN number. Eventually we got some stuff off. You can't really see, but it's just different. This guy's ready, except we thought that it had leaked out or it was low on coolant. Ended up the clutches burnt up on the air conditioner compressor. So that needs to get picked up. I got a couple guys looking into sourcing one. What else? Sprayer is about as ready as we can get without having water in it. We haven't fired up the pump or anything. This had inspection and big service at Young's. I want to say it was like a $17,000 bill. Really, over half of it was just there was something with the gear increaser and something leaking or whatever. And I want to say the part itself was only like $200. But they had to drain all the fluid, take all of this off, get somewhere up in there. And it was like 15 hours of labor for a $200 part. And they had to put new guts on the pump. Everything else, there was a few minor things here and there, a broken bolt, a worn slider, this, that, the other. It shouldn't need much, but once we fire it up, I can guarantee there's going to be a handful of solenoids that are kind of screwy, or those little poppets that are going to leak. So I've got, I don't know, 20 of those so that we can replace it. My Volvo Semi should be done today. It's in Regina. It was getting injectors done, and I had them look through it. They found another $4 or $5 grand worth of stuff to screw around with. It's been windy almost every day for the last 2 weeks. It's not even 8 a.m. and the wind is picking up again. You always forget how windy it gets in the spring. It's just a pain in the ass trying to find good days to spray more than anything. It's good because it helps dry out the fields. You don't want them bone dry, but yeah, the only day in the last 2 weeks where it hasn't been windy was last Saturday, not Easter Saturday, the one before. Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. And it rained all day. It was a nice half-inch slow rain, which really helped actually dry up the fields, ironically enough. It just took out all the frost. So I think the fields are probably fit to go. Some of ours, the low spots are still kind of punky and wet. Having said that, it might rain or snow a bit tonight, so we will see. I would guess that some guys are going to get going today. I got 2 guys in mind that are historically the first to go. And my guess is that they probably would have went over the weekend had it not been Easter weekend. Instead, they gave the hired hands the long weekend off, one last easy weekend kind of thing. And they'll go today. So one of the biggest time consumers that we've had so far, aside from, crawling under, the toolbar itself takes a lot. There's a lot of things to grease, like every packer wheel, every pivot, every hub, there's 2 spots on every fold, the hitches, all that. A lot of grease points, a lot of hoses to check. And, you have to crawl under, check every boot, make sure it's not pinched or wore funny or blew a hole through. And we only found one boot that needed replaced. There was a lot that needed to be, slipped down a bit and recut. That was the biggest time consumer. The second biggest one that took a lot of time for what it really was the icon system. And so what happened is the new software they came out with had a couple more features. I can't remember exactly. I know one of them, essentially, they have a broadcast mode. There was something else. I thought you'd be able to turn these sideways. You can't, so I had to redo that. God, I can't remember. Anyways, I did the software update, and when I did that, I got out here, I hooked everything up, and it forced a gateway software update, which is fine. But then I could not, I was only getting some data. I want to say maybe 20% of the data I should be getting at the tablet, and I wasn't able to control a bunch of stuff. First of all, this guy wasn't working. We ended up finding we had a bad power cord on it. It got cranked over somehow, and had to get a new one of those. They don't give those away. Then none of these were working. None of the sections were working. The master wasn't working. This was in quick dump, but it wouldn't engage section or do the override. You could adjust your packing pressure, but none of the sections were being controlled properly. None of the scales were reading properly. The fan sensors weren't being seen. I think the meters weren't being seen, all 28. I had a whole list of errors. And I had a suspicion that we had a bad gateway, but at the same time, I was able to connect to the gateway. And from my understanding, that's usually a sign your gateway's still fine. So I took this guy home and that guy and updated software on the iPad. I tried it over a hotspot, and I tried it on good Wi-Fi, and nothing. And finally, I did a reset on the gateway. Honestly, a gateway reset was probably what I should have, probably the number 2 thing I should have started with, because I should have re-downloaded the software, and I did. After that, I probably should have went and reset the gateway. I probably should have reset the gateway anyways after a software update. I did that, shut it off for about 30 seconds, flicked her back on, and everything came back how it should be. It saw all the fan sensors, the load cells, every motor. There was something else. There was very few things I could do, but I could control the field lights, I could control the packing pressure. It wouldn't cycle the shanks for some reason. It wouldn't even let me select it on the iPad. It wouldn't even let me turn on products. So I knew something was wrong. I called Morgan. She had no idea. She's like, I've never seen that before. She gave me a list of things to do. I did them. Didn't help. And then I did that gateway reset. It worked. I called her back and she goes, yeah, that's really weird. I've never heard of that, but it's good to know because the gateway is supposed to restart itself after a software update. And clearly it didn't, or it didn't do it right. So anyhow, that's good. While talking to Morgan, she told me that guys had been there's a handful of guys out there with these experimental boxes. And they have a new one out now. They said a couple guys had iPads overheat on them this spring. So, yeah, they've got new ones coming out. She said avoid using it if you can. They're supposed to be out this week with a new one. So hopefully we get that and life is peachy. Wow. What a difference a day makes. things were dry yesterday, not the fields, but yeah, this is definitely going to put a damper on seeding. Probably got 5 to 6 inches of snow when they're calling for 2 to 3. It did rain a bit last night before. Yuck. Oof! I am not on the road there. They do say there's an old wives', I don't know if we call it a tale or a rule of thumb or what, but always said 3 snows after the crows. And this would be number 3. And I just saw a duck fly by.